Hey, friend. How's it going? Oh, my goodness. We are back for another episode of the Position of Prosper podcast. I'm your host, Erica Pyle. And it's been 3 weeks now that we've been going live on YouTube to do these podcast episodes. So super exciting. And so, yeah, we're back with another installment this week about the 5 basic building blocks that any online business or ministry needs to be successful. So this is part of a series. I don't know if you've been a part of this series over the last couple of weeks. I want you to hop into the chat and let me know. But we are doing a series based on a little blueprint workbook that I put together for you guys. It's called the How to Go From Dream to Do Blueprint Workbook. It is a 3-step simple strategy for the busy entrepreneurial Jesus girl who wants to get started right now. And so what we've been talking about over these last few weeks are the 3 simple steps that you need to take if you want to go from dream to do in your business or ministry that you've been dreaming about starting. So maybe we should start by just clarifying like if you're in the right place or not. So if you're new to this series, my name is Erica Pyle. I speak to and help ambitious, multi-passionate Christian women who are looking to feel fulfilled in their purpose, the fullness of their purpose. And so, the women that I work with are many times they are, like I said, multi-passionate. So, I work primarily with wives and moms of kids who are also very busy, and maybe they're stay at home, but they haven't always been stay at home, and now they're at home maybe with their kids, and they're realizing like I want to do something, but I don't want to go back to a full-time job. I don't want to do that. I want to be the master of my own destiny, so to speak, in terms of time and effort and energy and how I do my things. And so they make this decision that they want to do something from home. And so, some people will call it a laptop lifestyle. I don't know. It's, a work from home situation. I really don't like it when people call it a side hustle, because the reality is like there is no side about it. Like you're who you are, you're doing what you're called to do. And it's this multifaceted experience, right? So I just wanted to kind of like put that out there so that we understand like this is who is primarily going to be served by what I'm offering here. So if you haven't had a chance yet to download the workbook that we'll be talking from, it's the Dream to Do Blueprint Workbook. You can go to ericapyle.com/dream to do. And you can download it. It's an 8-page power-packed PDF that you can either print, or what I've been telling everyone is you may want to download it and then get yourself a notebook. Get yourself a notebook that's like a fresh, clean notebook, because what you're going to be writing down, even the prompts that I have for you in the workbook, they may not actually fit into the little boxes that I gave you. I knew this going in, but the reality is I wasn't going to give you a 20-page workbook where there was a bunch of empty space. It just didn't make a lot of sense. I didn't want you to print that all out. So instead, download this 8-page PDF and grab yourself a fresh, clean notebook, and then do the work, do the steps in that workbook. And so over the last few weeks, we have done steps 1 and step 2. Okay. So step 1 was a vision brain dump. And so it was a very specific set of questions that I asked you so that you could get what you've been dreaming about and planning and visioning onto the paper once and for all. We're not going to keep on going through that cycle over and over again. We're going to move into action because action brings clarity. Okay. And then last week we talked about a little piece of, what is going to be step 2 that we're really going to get into today. And so I told you last week, we stopped on a little side road, like a little side quest, to clarify who it is that we serve. And so last week we talked a lot about why it's important to define your ideal customer or client or donor. Okay. So if you haven't done those episodes, I want to encourage you, go back and listen to those or watch those and complete those pieces of the workbook. Now, last week I sent you to a supplemental worksheet. It's called the Who Do I Serve worksheet. And you can find that at ericapyle.com/whoiserve. It's not a part of the workbook because I actually teach that worksheet in a different training. And so it's a separate it's a separate training. So, but I thought it would be helpful when we step into this week where we're really going to dive into step 2 of the workbook, okay, of the blueprint. So this week, like I said, we're going into step 2 and we're going to be talking about the basics checklist. There are 5 basic building blocks that you need if you want to launch an online business or ministry. Now, let's rush it back, okay? Because I know that if we get to this point, this is generally the place where we tend to lose the plot. See, you and I, being ambitious, multi-passionate, kingdom women who, you're probably a breaker like I am. You're self-motivated. You have a lot of focus and energy for doing the things of God, and you don't shy away easily. So what we don't realize is that people like us, when we are trying to avoid doing the thing, we'll actually fade back into visioning and dreaming and planning. It makes us feel like we're doing something, but in reality, we're not getting anything done. We're stuck in that visioning, dreaming, planning place. We're not taking any steps. We're not doing any actions. And so no fruit can come from that. And I find that sometimes as Christian women, there's a chance that you could have gotten gaslit, okay? There's a chance that you could have gotten gaslighted around this. It's like, pray. Just keep on praying. Just keep on declaring. Just keep on speaking, what you see. Declare the vision. Speak the promise. Pray through the word of God. Keep on quoting the scriptures. And it's going to happen because we've been taught scriptures like, when the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen. We've been taught scriptures like, God says it is God in you to will and to work according to his good pleasure. It's, to quote Philippians, and the work that God started in me, he's sure to finish. And it's like, okay, all those things are true, but we forget that faith without works is dead. And we need to actually do things. We need to do things in accordance with our faith so that the fruit happens. I know that God brings the increase, but that scripture also says that Paul did something and Apollos did something. So, it's a sequence and there are parts to it. And so when it comes to you and I launching a business or a ministry online, dreaming and planning and visioning is only going to take you so far. And at some point, it's going to start to feel really frustrating if you don't move into action. And so that's why we need to move past step 1, which was to get everything down on the piece of paper one last time, and now move into these building blocks. But here's what I also know. This is the place where we tend to get overwhelmed and we will fade back into vision, dream, plan land. Okay? Here's the reason why. Because when I tell you what these 5 building blocks are, there are very specific actions that you're going to need to take. And it can overwhelm us because we start to think, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that. That might either be like, I don't have the information to be able to do that. I don't have the skill set to be able to do that. I don't have the confidence to be able to do that. Whatever the case may be, right? Whether it's a mindset issue, whether it's a skill set issue, or whether it's just like an information issue, any of those things can cause us to feel stuck. And if we don't work past those, if we don't find ways to work past those, we'll forever stay stuck in vision, planning, dreamland. And that's not going to get it done. You're not going to move from dream to do if that happens for you. So before we even step into this step 2, I want to tell you that I have some solutions for you for this overwhelm that tends to happen right here. Okay. I'm going to talk to you about them in more detail at the end of this episode, but I want you to know that they're coming. So number one helpful solution is that on Friday, May 16th, I'm going to be teaching a half-day workshop with some friends of mine called the New Entrepreneur Experience Workshop. And we're actually going to take these building blocks that we're going to talk about today, and we're going to break them down, and we're going to go deep. And I'm going to actually help you to really understand each of these building blocks and what's necessary to get them up and running. Okay. We're going to go into detail, and we're going to have the time to do that because it's a half-day workshop, and I'm going to have some friends that are going to be helping me that are experts in these areas. So there's going to be that. Okay. There's a cost to it. And it's $47, okay? It's a $47 workshop, and that is actually the value of just the workbook alone that you're gonna get, okay? And then you have access to all these other speakers. There's a Q&A in the round at the end, so you can ask any question that you have. All the people will be there to answer it for you. This is a very valuable workshop, and you're gonna get the replay. That's included in the price. So you'll be able to come back to it. And if you're like, okay, I'm not ready to do building block number 1 today, but in 2 weeks I am, and you want to sit down and you want to rewatch the building block video for that particular block, you can do that. It's all there for you. So I'll tell you a little bit more about it at the end, okay? The other thing is during that workshop, I'm going to be announcing a new platform that I'll be offering starting at the beginning of June. It's an all-in-one marketing and tech platform that I've been working on with my team so that you can have everything that you need to build these building blocks all in one place. And you're going to get the support and the help, the training from me and my team. So whether it's practically, you're like, I don't know where to do that or how to do it, I'll have you covered. And if you need more information, or if you need mindset help, or even a little bit of skill setting, I have you covered in the workshop. Do you got it? So I have solutions for you so that you don't fall back into that dreaming, visioning, planning world and get stuck there again. But I need you to know that those things are going to be on offer when we're done talking about the step, because it's possible that when I start talking to you about it, your eyes might want to glaze over and you might have that automatic reaction of like, I can't do this. Listen to me, sister. Yes, you can. You can do this. If God called you to make this sound into the earth for Jesus and his kingdom and use the online platform to do it, and you're going to build a business, a ministry, a book, a blog, a Bible study, a podcast, a community, a gathering for that, then understand something. If he called you to it, he will equip you and give you everything that you need to do it. And part of that is this episode. Part of that is what I'm going to share with you today. So make sure that you have the blueprint workbook printed out or at least downloaded so you can refer to it. And you can get that at ericapyle.com/dream-to-do. Okay. Now, in step 2, the basics, the building blocks that every successful online business or ministry has at their core, at the foundation. There's 5 of these building blocks. We're going to talk about them. I'm going to give you the 5 just right off the top, and then I'm going to talk through them a little bit. Okay, deal? They're in the workbook so you can see them. The first thing that you need to be successful online in building this business or ministry that you have in your mind, and you want to get out into the world, the number 1 building block that you need is an offer. And I would say it needs to be a specific offer. It needs to address some pain points or some desire points for the person that you're wanting to serve. It's got to be clear. It has to be defined. And here's another thing that I think we get caught up in, especially us ambitious, multi-passionate girls. You have probably seen your business or ministry that you're wanting to build. You've probably seen it in all of its glory. You've seen it out there years from now. It's all like built out, and maybe you're on a platform, or maybe you're looking at your bank account, or you're seeing all the people that you're helping and you're feeling the fulfillment of it. And it's this big thing. And you're like, okay, I see books and I see courses and I see speaking engagements and I see this and I see that. And it's just like all these things. Okay. You need to come back to me and you need to decide, what is your first offer? What's the first way that you want to help your person? First way. When I started out with this, my very, very, very first offer was a personal finance series. It was a ministry called Position to Prosper. I've been teaching that for over 17 years now. Blows my mind. Helping people to get positioned to prosper in their personal finances with biblical principles. And that was my first offer. And it was interesting. It was very specific in the sense that I only took 24 people per session. And I had these massive waiting lists for people who wanted to get into one of these classes. And so I took it one at a time. I just took those 24 people. We worked with them for 6 weeks at a time. It was very high touch. We could have lots of conversations and we could look at their information and we could help them almost one-on-one. Everything was group. except for 1 week when we did meet with couples in a one-on-one format. And it was, like I said, very high touch. That was my first offer. And that was all I was doing. From there, I moved on. I've had offers. I'm a certified holistic health coach. So I've had a number of health coaching programs, group coaching programs that have been on offer, totally unrelated to that. I have done more of the Position to Prosper stuff. I've done other digital courses, and now I've moved into breakthrough business coaching. And I've done a lot of courses around and I have a coaching community around how to build your business or ministry online, your kingdom business or ministry online. So I've had a lot of different offers. I've had workshop offers. I've had, I did network marketing for a while. So I have physical product offers. And so, I get it. I know that you want to think about all the things that are possible, and that's amazing, right? But if you want to get started, you're going to have to think about one offer. So what's your first offer? What's the first thing? And I would usually say, what is the one thing that people want or need? And what is the one thing that would be the easiest to offer and easiest for you to deliver on? And that might be something that comes second nature for you. And you may think that's not a really big deal. No one's going to want that. And it's because it just comes so easy for you. But you have to understand that not everything that comes easy for you comes easy for someone else. And that's actually the core and heart of a really spectacular, irresistible offer, is something that comes super easy for you and that you're really good at and that someone else really needs and is willing to pay money for. That's at the core of an irresistible offer. Okay. So that's building block number one. You need to be able to define that. And in the workbook, I give you a couple things to think about when you are thinking about defining your offer. So go to the workbook and do those steps. Okay. So that's building block number one. You need to have a defined offer. You need to have one specific offer to start with. Number two, building block number two, you need an audience. You need an audience, whether you are building a business or whether you are building a ministry, whether you're trying to write a book that you someday want to get published or get out into the world, a blog that you want followers and readers for, a podcast that you want people downloading episodes, all of these things, a ministry where you have donors, people that are, rallying to your cause and they're going to go with you. All of these things, they require a community, a gathering of people, an audience, people who are going to go with you, your tribe, your community, whatever you want to call them. And so you need that. That is a building block of what you're trying to accomplish. You can't just be off in a room by yourself talking to yourself. That's not going to build a business or a ministry, right? And sometimes we get this is a place that we get really nervous because maybe we have been out on social media and we don't have a big following. And maybe we're like, how am I supposed to find people? Well, you build your audience you can build your audience a number of different ways. But the easiest and most cost-effective ways to do it are free social media platforms, free social media accounts. It means that you're going to have to put your own time, energy, and effort and maybe learn some skill sets into how to communicate out on those platforms. Right now I'm learning YouTube and I haven't been out here, but there's a value for me on YouTube to get out here and do my podcast here because YouTube is a search engine. So if I put the right keywords into my descriptions and into my title, and I make it really clear what it is that I have to offer and who I want to speak to, and I put that in my description of my YouTube videos, people are out here searching terms and they're going to find my information. And by finding my video, my content, then they're going to find my opt-in, which means then they're going to get on my email list. And then I get to talk to them a little bit more because now they're in my email list and I'm sending them emails. And in those emails, I might tell them about things that I have on offer, like that $47 workshop that I told you about earlier. And then they're like, oh, that could help me. And do you see how I'm gathering my audience and then I'm nurturing and supporting and serving my audience? And then eventually, somewhere down the road, they may want to buy something from me. That's the process, but it starts with gathering your audience. And the free way to do that is free organic social media, okay? But also having a basic website out online is going to help you because if anything were to ever happen to your social media accounts, you want to have your own piece of real estate, so to speak, out on the internet. And, your website works on something called SEO, search engine optimization. And so again, making sure that on your website, you are using phrases and words, keywords that your person, your audience would be searching for, that they would be looking for. That's what's going to cause your website, your blog post, your video to rise to the top of those search results. Okay. And so, gathering that audience is, first and foremost, use social media for that. Have a website. Now you're like, Erica, but how are those things going to gather me an audience? Well, on both of those places, you should be thinking about something called an opt-in or a freebie, which is a piece of information or a discount code or something of value that you can offer to someone so that in exchange, they will give you their email address. Now, before you freak out and you're like, are you a boomer? No, actually, I'm a Gen Xer. But I need you to understand that even if you are, Gen Z, whatever, you might be thinking, email's dead. I don't use my email. The statistics still show that the king of marketing is email. People buy at a rate of over 400% more on email than they do even on social media. I understand, hashtag saw it on TikTok, bought it because of TikTok or whatever that hashtag is big, right? Like TikTok is generating a lot of sales, and you can see that on Instagram as well. And even on Facebook, Facebook ads are really what drives the most in sales in terms of social media. But you really need to understand that having an email list is the king. It's like the king of marketing, and you own your email list, unlike your followers on social media. And so when you offer something like an email opt-in, a PDF, a cheat sheet, a worksheet, a workbook, like my Dream to Do workbook, a quiz, a discount code, a short audio series, a video series that you're going to deliver in their inbox. All these things of value that are small consumable bites, like little appetizers for your ideal audience. This is what's going to compel them to give you their email list, their email address. And now you're building your email list. And that, my friends, is the ultimate audience. We do all the social media and search engine stuff so that we can build an email list. And so once you understand that, everything changes. I understand that can feel really overwhelming because you're like, oh my goodness, I have to do that. That means then that I need to figure out how do I do that? You need an email service provider. Okay. Email service provider. What's that? That's like, I don't know, MailChimp, ConvertKit. I think it's called Kit now. Flowdesk, Kajabi, High Level, all these different names are email service providers, but you also need a way to deliver that opt-in. You need some place that would host that. And then you need to be able to send emails to your list. And so all of that it's like, okay, do I have the skill sets for that? Do I have the bandwidth for that? Do I even know how to do that? I need more information. I need the platform, right? You feeling me? Do you know now why I told you at the beginning? Stick with me because I'm going to show you. I have some things that'll help you in the end, because this is the place that we get overwhelmed, sister. This is where it all stops, because we're like, I don't know how to do that. I'm not sure, right? So it's like, hold on. I'm going to walk you through step by step right now. I'm just giving you the what. Relax. So you're going to need a place where you're going to need a way to gather your audience. Okay. The last way that I talk about in this building block number 2 would be ads. Facebook ads, once you get a hang of them, super simple, not too expensive, and can really bring a lot of leverage to building your email list and building your audience of ideal customers, clients, and donors. So just know it's, yes, there's a skill set to it. Yes, there's information that you need to learn, but once you're in it, running some simple Facebook ads so that you can grow your list and your audience is not too hard. Okay. So that's building block number 2. So number 1 is you need a defined offer, and dare I say, an irresistible offer that solves a problem for your ideal person. Number 2, You want to gather your ideal audience. You want to gather that ideal customer, client, or donor. And so you're going to need to use, usually we're using organic social media, website, and those two will utilize that opt-in idea. So your website, you would put an opt-in form on your homepage, and people could opt in on your website, or they can opt in on your posts on social media, or you can use ads. Okay, so that's building block number 2. Building block number 3, you need a way to share your offer. You can have this great offer that you think, oh my goodness, this is so good. People are going to love it, right? And you can have your audience and you can be talking to them and telling them, but somehow you need to get the offer to your audience. And so that means you need to know how to utilize those formats that we just talked about for getting your offer out. So do you have social media? Do you have a website? Are you willing to use, paid advertising on social media platforms? But the other thing that comes in here is, do you know how to write a sales page? Do you know how, like a landing page that people go to where they read the information about what it is that you're offering? Maybe it's a shop if you have a physical product. Maybe it's, what's called a VSL, a video sales letter, that explains what it is that you're offering, whether it's a product or a service. Do you have a way of communicating your offer to your ideal audience in a way that causes them to press the button and say, I want to buy this? And with a ministry, with donations, it's the same thing. You need to be able to compel them through your storytelling to convince them that the cause that you're offering them to come and be a part of is something that is irresistible to them, that they absolutely have to be a part of. And so they pull out their credit card and they donate, or they pull out their debit card, or they pull out however, I don't know, their cryptocurrency account, and they give to you. Okay. So this one might feel a little more ethereal to you because you're like, okay, hold on a second. We just talked about social media and a website and ads. But this third building block, which is, do you know how you're going to communicate your offer to your audience in such a way that they're going to press the buy button or the donate button? And in this building block is not just the platforms, although that's important, right? You need to have an email service provider. You need to have those social media accounts. You need to have a place where you can build those opt-in landing pages, those sales pages, and all that's tech, right? And platforming. But then also you might need to have some skill set training on how to write good copy that compels people to buy. How do you tell a story in such a way that people buy? Because facts tell, stories sell. And so if you're not telling stories these days, you're not going to sell anything. And so, having that kind of training and knowing, again, can be very overwhelming if you start to think about, but I don't know how to do that, so I might as well just forget about it. No. You just need to have a plan, a little blueprint that tells you this is the steps that we're going to do it in. You might need some coaching, some training. And then it might be helpful to have a community around you that's going in the same direction and doing the same thing so that you can collaborate, you can support one another, you can go along together. Does this make sense? We're going somewhere, friends. We're going somewhere, right? And that's what I do. That's what I offer. And so that's why we're doing the what part of it right now here on the podcast, is because I need you to know there are these 5 building blocks, but you're going to have to build them out. So when it comes down to it, how are you going to do it, right? And do you need some help? Do you need some direction? Do you need some coaching? Would you like a community? Would you like a plan that's already worked for other people and it's plug and play and you just want to step into it? Because I got those things for you. I've got some of those things for you. But you got to start here, because until we know what the 5 building blocks are that we have to build, we can't move forward. Okay? So you're in the right place right now. So that's building block number 3. A way to deliver your offer to your ideal audience and get them to buy or donate. Okay? Building block number 4, a way to receive payment. Okay, listen, I know this sounds so simple, but can I tell you something? This is a place that people get stuck and hung up. If you're going to do an official business or ministry, if you're going to do some kind of an endeavor that is like a project and it's not just a hobby, you probably want to get a bank account. like seriously, especially if you know that this is a business or a ministry, you've got to get a separate bank account. All right. That means that you have to formalize your entity and get yourself a bank account. But even if you are just doing this little thing and you're like, okay, I don't want to be that formal yet. Okay, can you at least get like a payment processor, like a PayPal, a Stripe, a Venmo account, a Cash Pay account that is a business account or like it's a ministry account, like is specifically for this endeavor that you're doing? Like you want to be intentional about that. You don't want to be commingling. Now listen, I don't bring this up very often, but my background is as a CPA. I have a BA in business administration with a concentration in accounting, and I have a master's of science in taxation. My last job in the marketplace almost 20 years ago, was as the senior global tax director of global accounting for a Fortune 500, $2 billion publicly traded company based in New York City. 1,800 subsidiaries, 50 direct reports around the world. And I was responsible for helping them to calculate and roll up the information for the tax footnote. Okay. I need you to understand, I have a passion for process and for system and for things being clean. One of the things that I did in that job was I helped my company to remediate something called material weaknesses, things that the SEC was actually on all kinds of companies back in that day, 20 years ago, to clean up these weaknesses in reporting. Because it was like, look, if you have shareholders that need to look at your financial statements and be able to make decisions about whether they want to invest in your company and fund what your company is doing, they have to feel confident that you're providing them with true information. And so I got really good at helping my company to ensure that they were using systems and strategies to roll up that information from 1,800 subsidiaries to bring it together so that when we handed it to the shareholder, they could feel confident, and an auditor came in, a big accounting firm came in and audited that so that they could attest to the fact that, yeah, these financial statements are good. All right. So I have a big passion for good standards and for holding to good standards and for making sure that things are on the up and up. So it makes sense then, right, that I would say to you, it's really important that you have a separate bank account or place that you're taking in payments for this business or ministry that you are running. Yeah. You do not want to be commingling this. You do not, that's the kind of situation that'll get you in an audit real quick. Okay. So let's just do it right from the beginning. And let's make sure that we have a special place, a separate place for our business funds or our ministry funds. Deal? And then you need to make sure that you have a way to take money, to take payments, to take donations from people where they can get receipts, where it is legitimate. They feel secure using that platform to pay you. And so a lot of times it's like you have to have one of these payment processors. So that's why I'm saying stuff like PayPal, Stripe, Venmo, these sorts of payment processor systems that you can put on your website, that you can put links into your link tree or your social media, and people can use that to pay you, and they can feel safe and confident that their money is getting where it needs to go and they're not being defrauded. Make sense? All right. So that's step number 4, building block number 4. Be legit, sis. That's what I'm saying to you. Be legit about the money that you're taking in. And then step number 5, building block number 5, is a way to deliver on your offer. Now, this may seem like real simple, but when you're in the online space, this becomes a little bit tricky. Because if you're saying that you are going to provide coaching services, let's say, well, then how are you going to do that? Where are you going to do it? Are you going to just do it on the phone? Are you going to do it via FaceTime? Are you going to do it via Zoom? How are you going to do that? Are you going to get a platform that there's a lot of platforms popping up right now that you can use for coaching live, face-to-face, one-on-one or group coaching? How are you going to do that? If you're doing a digital course, where are you going to host your digital course? You're like, oh, well, I thought I would just put it on YouTube. Okay, well, then you're going to have to use secret links. And then there's the chance that, you can't really customize anything. So now it's just going to be YouTube. So is that the experience that you want your people to have? Or do you want to have a customizable landing page? Do you want a platform where you can customize and make it look the way you want it to look? Do you want to look professional and legit? These are options, right? If you are a physical products, do you have a store? Do you have a shop? Where are you setting that up? Are you just going to use TikTok Shop or Instagram Shop, or are you going to use Shopify? Are you going to use Etsy? Like, what platform are you going to use to deliver on that promised offer? Do you see? If your services, like, how are you going to deliver on those services? Do you have a calendaring system? If you need to schedule people, do you have a calendaring system? Do you see? There's all these little ticky little points, little task points that you need to be thinking about. And this all rolls into next week, our finale, where it's really about, like, how do you put this all together? How do you put it all together? And, step 3 of the Dream to Do blueprint is to put together a basic blueprint of tasks. You have the 5 building blocks as your categories. And then the question becomes, in each of those building blocks, what do you need to do? Because right now I'm talking to physical product makers. I'm talking to service providers. I'm talking to digital content creators. I'm talking to coaches. I'm talking to all sorts of people, ministry, foundation owners, or stewards. And you could be doing something so different from the next person that's sitting digitally right next to you in this classroom right now. But it's all going to fall into these 5 building blocks. So in the building blocks, what steps do you need to do? And what do you need to do first? How are you going to prioritize your time? And so listen, I know that this becomes a little bit overwhelming, especially if you're trying to do this on your own. Maybe you've tried to do it a number of times and you're like, Erica, I've tried to start this so many times and I constantly get stuck at this spot because I feel like I don't know how to do those things. Sister, listen, this is a podcast, right? So I can't take you by the hand on a podcast. It's really hard for me. This is not an interactive experience, but I do offer interactive experiences. And the next one that I have coming up is the new Entrepreneur Experience Workshop that's happening on Friday, May 16th. Okay. And in this workshop, it's a half-day workshop with me and 4 of my friends that are doing big things in this area of online business and ministry, real successful in the startup phases and in the getting going phases. Okay. Listen. If you're just getting started, you don't need someone who's a 7 or 8 figure earner trying to help you to get up and running. They have been so far past that stage for so long that they're just going to give you the facts, ma'am, and keep on moving. Understand something. I've gathered some girls together who still know what it feels like to be gathering the first 250 people to their email list, who know what it feels like to just be starting out with Facebook ads or just starting out and building their website, their first landing page, just getting their audience defined and starting to get it gathered. Okay. There's something about hearing from women who are not so far ahead of you, but have done it and they're close enough to it that they can be like, come on, let's sit down together and let's do it. And that's what the new Entrepreneur Experience is going to be all about. We're going to unpack and go deeper into these 5 building blocks. And we're going to be able to show you some things very specifically. And we're going to give you some very specific steps for what you can do right where you are. And you're going to be able to ask questions right then and there. And you're going to get the answers you need. And we'll be able to give you some options and some advice. Okay. So I want to encourage you, if you're like, okay, Erica, I hear what you're saying and I understand I need to do all this. And yes, now is my time to do it. I just want some help. Then your next best step is to get signed up for the new Entrepreneur Experience Workshop happening on Friday, May 16th. Go to ericapyle.com/start now. Okay. That's where you need to go to get signed up for the workshop. Listen to me. If you're watching this on replay and you're like, Erica, that was a year ago, and I'm just watching this now, are you telling me that there's no help for me? I can almost guarantee you, as I sit here ahead of time, past me is speaking to you, and I can almost guarantee you, prophesying into the future, that we will have some sort of an evergreen option where you can buy this as a workshop. Do not fret, okay? Don't fret. I'm going to make sure that we always have a way for you to jump across this bridge, this dream to do bridge, because this is the place that I know that we get stuck and I know you need help here. And so I don't want to leave you hanging. So if you know that you need help getting this beginning blueprint written out and get moving on that bridge from dream to do. If you're like, Erica, this is what's holding me back. I don't know what order to do the steps in. I don't know specifically for my business or ministry that I'm starting what I should start with, or which one I should choose, or, how I should put all those things together and what order I should do them in. Sister, come to the New Entrepreneur Experience Workshop, because there's going to be opportunity for you to ask those questions. We're keeping time at the end of the workshop so you can ask those questions and we can get them answered for you. Okay. And it's also at that workshop that I'm going to be telling you about this all-in-one platform that we're launching, where all these building blocks, like instead of having to get this tech item, this tech thing over here, and this tech thing over here, and this tech thing over here, and then putting it all together and paying like $200, $300 a month for all those things. How about we put it all in one place and I charge you, I don't know, less than $100. Would that sound good to you? Because that's what we're planning on offering for our first few people who join that. And so I'll be talking about that at the New Entrepreneur Experience Workshop. I'll be telling you how you can get into my community and get that option to join as a founder on that kind of a platform that we are preparing just for you, even right now as we speak, all behind the scenes. It's so exciting. So as we wrap this up, I just want to remind you, you do not have to do this alone. It is my passion and my pleasure to walk ambitious, multi-passionate Christian women who want to build a business or a ministry online, and they want to do it without the overwhelm and without the burnout. It's my pleasure and my passion to help you. And I want to give you proven plans, strategies, systems. I want to help you with mindset. I want to provide you with a community and with coaching and sharpening that you need so that you can do this in an accelerated way without having to negotiate or compromise on your faith, your family, your health, your finances, or your sanity, sister. Come on, you can do this. You were made for this. You know that Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. What are all the things? Well, listen, sister, if God called you to build and launch this business or ministry in this season, then that's one of all the things that he's told you that you can do in him. So let's do that. Let's find the biblical strategies. Let's find the kingdom way to build this business or this ministry, to do it without the burnout, without the overwhelm. And a lot of times that comes from doing it alongside other people who've already done it or are doing it with you. And let's get rid of some of that friction. Does that sound good? So first and foremost, make sure you've got the blueprint, right? ericapile.com/dream to do. It's free. Just go ahead and grab it. And then if you want to go the next step with me, let's sign up for the New Entrepreneur Experience Workshop on Friday, May 16th. Okay. Go to ericapile.com/start now, and I'll see you in the workshop. All right, friend, that's what I have for this week. I'll be back next week with the last installment in the series on the Dream to Do Blueprint. And we're going to be talking about going from behold to build. And we're going to cover the last step in this worksheet. And I'm just going to take you to the next level. Sound good? All right, friend, until next week, have a good one. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.